So everyone keeps telling me the same thing, that no one is going to pay for anything that's AI generated. It's all slop, it has no value. No one's really interested in anything AI generated. But I wanted to show you something in this video, and this is a single pack of wallpapers that I've made entirely with AI in a single day. I feel like it's actually taken me an afternoon, and I almost didn't put it up for sale, but it's now made over $30,000. So what exactly is it? So I have a digital product store, platsupply.com. And if we go to my wallpapers, I have a bunch of different wallpapers on there. One of these is the acrylic paint wallpaper pack. And yeah, it took me probably a day, afternoon to make these wallpapers. And it's just so funny to me because I get comments all the time being like, who is buying wallpapers? Who is buying AI generated stuff? But the thing I've learned is that making stuff that people actually want is even more important than how it's made. I came up with this idea when I saw just like an acrylic paint wallpaper poster sort of thing. I can't exactly remember where the idea came from, but I remember it sort of being along those lines and thinking to myself, oh, that would make a cool wallpaper pack. But then the issue was, how do I make this? I don't have the space, I don't have the time, I don't have the resources. I also don't have the skill to make something like this. And hiring someone to make something like this probably would have cost me thousands, tens of thousands of dollars, because it takes a lot of time and effort to do something like this. What I really liked about acrylic paint in particular is that it obviously has this very sort of thick, sort of rich texture and color to it. It can also be layered, like in this picture, you can see the shadows and stuff. And it's crazy because obviously this is all AI generated. And I have, you know, a bunch of wallpapers in there. I have 16 wallpapers in there. Well, 17 different desktop and 15 different mobile wallpapers. And yeah, like when you see it in my setup here, I personally think it looks amazing. I was really happy with them, and it's why I made them and put them up for sale. I think as well, this was quite low risk for me to make because I knew it wasn't going to take much of my time. I knew it wasn't going to cost that much money. So I didn't have to worry too much about, am I investing too much in this, hoping to get a return, when I can just experiment and see what happens. Obviously, it helps to have experience in selling wallpapers already. So I knew that I could make some money here. I used Midjourney to make the wallpapers. You don't actually necessarily have to use Midjourney. I just used it because it was easy. There's so many other sort of image generation tools out there. I know even like ChatGPT 2 and these other sort of services can produce great images as well. And the Midjourney subscription is around $10 a month for the basic plan, $30 for the standard plan, $60 for the pro plan. I think I had the mega plan, so $120. So I actually think anyone who's buying these wallpapers, they're actually getting quite a good deal, because then they don't have to subscribe to Midjourney or some other AI tool to make these images, which will cost them more than the wallpaper pack itself. What I ended up doing was I actually went to the Midjourney Explore page just to see what other people have made, see what other people have produced, just to make sure that I can produce something similar to it. So I can already see here, actually, this image here has a sort of painty aesthetic to it. I'm not logged in right now, but I know when you log in, you can search for different types of images and stuff, and then you can use them as a base to your prompt to produce an image. And that's the key thing here. I didn't come up with any crazy prompt. I didn't actually use any image as a base. I kind of just put in whatever I thought made sense as a prompt, and then from there just refine the prompt just to see what I could get. I think a lot of people overthink the prompts, which I completely understand, because when you're putting in a prompt and you're not getting the result you want, you kind of just think to yourself, the prompting is wrong. And sometimes it can be, but I think it's also just about experimenting, adding more words, describing more accurately what you're looking for, because you can get some really good results that way. I think the other key thing here is that I have a design background. I like to think that I have quite an eye for aesthetic and design. That's what I like to think anyway. And it seems that a lot of you guys also think that, because it's why a lot of people follow me online. They like my design style, my aesthetic style. So that's another thing to consider. Just because you like something doesn't necessarily mean that others will like it. And I have definitely found this, because there have been other wallpaper packs that I've made that I thought look amazing, but haven't done that well, purely because the appeal of them isn't as wide as some of my most popular packs. So I think it's all about experimenting. Try and figure out a taste, try and figure out an aesthetic that you're into, because I think that really helps when it comes to selling products like this. Now, when it comes to putting out for sale, I put it on my store, platsupply.com. This is just a Shopify store that I built, and then I have a few plugins to manage sort of digital product delivery and things like that. And yeah, the way it works is that it's just a product, and it has like a desktop thumbnail, and then when you go through, you can see other thumbnails as well, and you can also see some real life use cases. So these are actual pictures of me using the wallpaper pack on my phone, on my computer, in my setup, on my iPad, because I think it's good to show the actual product in use, because then people can imagine it in their own setup. They can imagine it on their own device or whatever it might be. The actual product the customer gets is just a zip file that contains 17 different desktop resolution wallpapers and then 15 different mobile wallpapers. That is it. Again, it's all about keeping it simple and not overthinking it. Now, when we go into my Shopify admin and we look at the report for it, so you can see I've put in here product title, acrylic paint wallpaper pack, items sold, gross sales, returns, whatever else. You can see that I've sold 2,200 packs and I've made $31,500, and that's just on Shopify. I also have a Gumroad account, and I think on my Gumroad account it's made like another $10,000, something like that. So actually it's made over $40,000, not $30,000. Yeah, it's wild to me that it's made that much money. It's wild to me that a wallpaper pack can make that much money, because I think like most people, I kind of think to myself, when I put these up, is anyone going to buy them? Who's going to buy them and stuff like that? But I've realized, if you make something that people want that has some sort of value, and it saves people time and effort to do it themselves, then they're going to pay for it. Because if you did want to, you could set up a Midjourney account, you could pay for the subscription, you could start spending some time doing the prompt and stuff. But again, that takes time and it takes money. It's actually cheaper and quicker for you just to buy the wallpaper pack from me and have them ready to go. What's also really important here is the profit margins. So the only costs I have are my own time, my Shopify costs, so credit card costs and the Shopify plan, and then the Midjourney subscription. Those costs are very minimal when a wallpaper pack is making $30,000. So I think to myself, okay, when it comes to time and effort and whatever, the profit margins are just massive, because it's only taken me a day, an afternoon to make these. The profit margin is basically 99% for me. So that's another thing to consider when making digital products and selling digital products and using AI to make stuff, because AI can really help you scale things to an unbelievable level. I can do this all on my own. I don't need a team. I don't need people. I don't need to hire people. I don't need to have staff or anything like that. I can do all of this on my own. Very much is a one-man business, one-man sort of thing that you can do, and you can make a lot of money from it. Now, of course, sometimes I get comments from people being like, hey, the only reason you got this many sales is because of your audience. And you know what? You're completely right. I've spent years building an audience, but I think a lot of people get it backwards, where they think you need to build the audience first and then you sell the product. For me, I actually made the products first and then I built the audience, because I've realized when you make products and when you make stuff that people want, the audience actually come along. I feel like a great example of this is someone like Werner Bronkhorst, the artist. So I'm sure a lot of people are familiar with his style of work. Again, it's like an acrylic paint style with little figurines and stuff, but he made that stuff first. He made the artwork first, right? And then the audience came. And I think that's what people need to get their head around. You need to make something that people are actually interested in. You need to make something that people like, that people will actually be willing to spend money on. Of course, Werner Bronkhorst's artwork goes for thousands and thousands of dollars. Not everyone can afford them, but there is a market for them. It's why he's able to make money from it. And I think that's something that everyone needs to think about properly. You need to build something that people want, and then the audience will come along with it. I found that a lot of the customers who actually bought this wallpaper pack weren't people who knew who I was. They just came across an Instagram post or a Twitter post or a YouTube video or whatever. They saw it and they were like, okay, I want to get that. They don't actually have any idea of who I am. They just like the product. And I think that's what's really important, having a product that people actually want, which again, to a lot of people is going to be crazy, because people are going to think, who's buying wallpapers? I know a lot of people are interested in the sort of marketing behind this stuff, building a personal brand. How do you do all this? I'll leave links to sort of resources and stuff that I've shared over the years, just so for anyone interested, because I found that whenever I make videos about building a personal brand or videos about marketing, people aren't that interested. The topic itself isn't actually that interesting. So I just try to distribute it in other ways. Now, could you do this too? I think that really depends, because there's like a framework to it, which I've written down here, which actually just goes back over everything that I've just said in this video. You need to pick an aesthetic or style that there's real demand for. You need to start generating a lot. And when I say generating a lot, I mean just making lots of different products, trying lots of different things, and then figuring out your taste, your style, your aesthetic. Package it and show it in use. So like I said, with the thumbnails for my product, you can see actual images of setups with the wallpaper. I think that for me is very important, because I want to imagine myself using the product. It's also why, for example, when you go buy an item of clothing and you say you're buying a top or a pair of trousers, it's fine having just the top on a white background, but you really actually want to see it on a person, see what the fit is like, see what it looks like against someone's skin or whatever it might be. So showing it in the real world, I think really does help sell it. You want to make it easy to sell. It's why I started using Shopify. Shopify aren't sponsoring this or anything like that. I just think it's good because of everything works and you pay a subscription. I think it's worth it. But the great thing about Shopify, Midjourney, and all these other tools is that I can connect them all to Claude or to ChatGPT, whatever tool, and manage them from there. So I can really have AI sort of control anything and everything for me. And then finally, you need to get it in front of an audience. You need to start marketing it. Like I said, I'll leave links to sort of marketing stuff that I've learned over the years and how I market and sell my products. The most important thing though, and the reason why I made this video, is that I don't think you should let anyone tell you that people don't buy AI generated products. I think that is absolute nonsense. I think if you're watching this video, you are well and truly far ahead of most people, because most people have already got it in their heads and they're not going to change their minds about AI generated stuff, about using AI and making money from AI generated products and stuff like that. They've got it in their head that it's not possible. They've got it in their head that you can't do it. And then there's going to be even fewer people that do have access to the tools and stuff, but they don't actually do the thing. They're not actually going to make the products. They're not actually going to make the website. They're not going to set it all up, because it does take time and effort and it takes some initiative to do it. I think initiative is another key thing that a lot of people don't have. So hopefully you learned a thing or two. Make sure to check out my other videos. I have so many other videos covering AI stuff, how to make money online, how I make money from digital products. I also have links to so many different things that you guys can learn from. Yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter and subscribe for more.